Welcome to the show. Good morning. Welcome to For the Health of It. I am Dr. Scott Phillips, local chiropractor, owner of Lifestyle Chiropractic and Wellness Center in the Clock Tower building, and I will be your personal health care expert for the next hour. We have a really good show today. I'm excited to welcome again the lovely, always funny, always entertaining Miss Cheryl Laub. Cheryl, you can say hi to everybody for a second.
Hi, everybody.
So, Cheryl, you were on my first show. This 12 weeks. It's been 12 weeks.
Wow,
this is the 12th show.
Congratulations.
And I was a little more nervous back then.
You were shaking. It was so funny. Your body was trembling. I felt so bad. I just tried to be the giggle girl.
I know you were
better.
fantastic as the giggle girl, and here you are back again. You actually get to talk about what it is that you do, and so we're really, really happy to have you, and very excited to talk about the topic that today is, which is weight loss, which is, it's summertime. People feel like we're shedding clothing and we're trying to shed pounds.
Showing more skin.
And so we're going to talk a lot about that, give away some secrets, and have a good time. Let's talk first about some events that are going on. I've talked a little bit for a little while about this Heber Valley Half Marathon that's running this Saturday. So if you're just out and about and see a bunch of crazy people, when they get actually to Heber Valley, they'll probably have already run about 10 miles or so. So they'll be tired and they'll be ornery. And if you have a squirt gun, probably wouldn't be a bad idea to give them a little water. So that's running. It starts down at Deer Creek. It's running up kind of the Heber Creeper Trail. And then coming up and ending at Heber Valley Elementary School. And so this is kind of the first, I think, half marathon that's just run exclusively here in Heber in the valley. And so it's kind of an exciting thing. Maybe one day we'll turn it into a full. You run up to the elementary school and then run back. I don't know. Or maybe someone running it decided that they want to do the full thing. And they'll turn around. So anyway, my brother and I always talk about those weirdos that run the race and then turn around and keep running. Like, hey, you cross the finish line, cut it out. You're making us all look bad. Anyway, so that should be kind of fun. There's another run that's coming up next week on the 24th. It's in Charleston. They do it every year. Timpanogos Foot and Ankle with Dr. Taylor there in our building, in the Clock Tower building. Yeah. He always sponsors this run. It's a 5 and 10K out in Charleston. And it's a fantastic event. They do a pancake breakfast after, really kind of fun hometown. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how you could run before.
I know.
Maybe at mile 2 you stop and eat some pancakes.
Have some pancakes.
So, but it's a really fun, good hometown event, and so 5K really not a huge difficult thing to do. Maybe for some people. But this is one where you can really grab a stroller and walk the whole dang thing. No one will care.
That's awesome.
And it's fun to get out. Obviously, the farmers market tonight. We're starting to see produce there. There have been a few farmers here and there. So if that's why you go, then they may be even more today. My garden's got some things. I've got peas. I've even got a squash that's kind of growing. Nice. So anyway, I'm not ready to sell it at the farmer's market yet. And then, of course, tonight, let's see who's going to be the band. This is just 17th. So these are the Snake Creek Riders. And they play some country and bluegrass, and that should be kind of fun, too. So really fun event. A lot of people come out. You'll see a lot of people, so dress accordingly. Yeah, exactly. make sure you don't,
I think Fire on the Water's this weekend at Jordan.
Fire on the Water is this weekend. You're right. Jordan L. It's Saturday.
It is Saturday.
I do not have a clue when it starts.
I'm sure it's dark.
This looks like a flyer for it. Band starts at 5. There is a hot dog eating contest. I'm not propagating.
I'm not participating.
I'm not propagating.
No,
you get involved in that, but if you'd like to, you may. A boat parade of lights at 9 p.m. and fireworks at 10. So put a car together. It says $17 per carload. This is a good event. I've actually never been to it myself, but you have, haven't you, Cheryl?
No, I haven't, but Laurie's always after me. I'm always out of town.
I know.
But I'm trying to be there.
Are you in town this weekend?
I think I'm trying to be.
Maybe we should go then.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it looks like fun for sure. And who doesn't love fireworks?
I know.
And then we talked a little bit last week, had Mike Smith on the show from Mountain View Fellowship Church. And he talked about their sports camp that they're running next week. It's next Tuesday through Friday, $25 for the whole week, 9 to noon. You get your kids out of the house for 3 hours.
Awesome.
They're going to teach them how to swim or how to play soccer, or there's all kinds of sports. Anyway, really easy to register for. Go to MVF Church. That's for Mountain View Fellowship. MVFchurch.com. And get out there Tuesday through Friday. In fact, actually, I got my confirmation email, and they've got a lot of really neat events that they're doing that if you sign up, you'll find out what it is. Not just for the kids and stuff, for the families too.
It's such a
they're
great
so
group of
fun.
people.
And Mike was on here, and we had a blast. And yeah, they really do a lot of good in the community. I think this is one of their kind of premier events just for everyone, and it's fantastic. So. Anyway, those are all the nice events coming out. I know there are more. Such a fun place, such a great valley to do all this kind of stuff. Let's talk about the article that I kind of that caught my eye this week. It's summertime. I have not yet been bit by a mosquito. Have you?
I have scars already. They love me, and I'm allergic on every level.
So this is a good article for you then, because the article says what makes me so tasty.
Please tell me. I will stop immediately.
But we're actually gonna break 5 myths that people have about mosquito bites, and so we're gonna talk about these. The first one is that all mosquitoes bite humans. Did you think that all bite humans?
I don't know. They just bite.
I don't really care, right?
don't think they bite
I don't know what kind
cows.
of mosquito that is, but he's biting me. But apparently there are about 3,500 species of mosquitoes. That's a lot.
Oh, I'm itching.
Anyway, but a lot on plant nectar, reptiles, birds, and other mammals. Of the species that do bite the humans, it's only the females that go for the blood.
I did know that. Well, hello.
Get out of here, woman.
I know.
Myth number 2, mosquitoes are attracted to certain foods, colors, and blood types. They've actually done studies to try to show that
O positive is a yummy one.
That's what they said, but apparently that has been debunked.
Oh, really?
It says the study on mosquitoes' attraction to type O blood was later refuted due to bad statistics.
Well, they need to do it again because there's some
they need
connection.
to find out. But they did say carbon dioxide and heat are the 2 biggest draws.
Drawing them?
Draws them, yeah.
Carbon
So they are attracted to the carbon dioxide and the heat. Also, scent may play a role, but they obviously like ingredients in the sweat and skin secretions. I don't know what other skin secretions there are than sweat. I guess there's oil, but anyway, so that's more what they're attracted to than actually what your blood type is. So quit breathing and quit sweating.
And I'm sweaty.
Right? So, I mean, there you go. Say, look, I'm getting bit. I must be pretty hot.
Yeah. You know, I found that lemongrass, just the oil lemongrass, seems to do as good as...
Maybe they don't like the smell of lemon.
I don't know what it is, but I...
There you go. See, there's a tip. You're already helping people, and you're not even on the clock.
I know.
Okay, number 3, pregnancy puts you at risk. There was a study that was published that supported the belief that mosquitoes prefer pregnant women. And then kind of the same thing, they sort of found out it was not really great science. And so but what they did say is there is more heat and carbon dioxide that pregnant women give off.
They're just more grumpy when they're and hot and sweaty. We can't help it.
I think the more you get mad that you're getting bit, the more you get bit.
Well, sure. And that's what happens with me.
I think the mosquitoes know it.
And I start digging at it.
Like, yeah, let's really get her. Have you heard of citronella plants?
Yes.
Apparently the plants in candles don't do anything.
No way.
So they said that citronella is a weak repellent, and that you really have to crush the leaves. And so if you see a plant, you just put the plant out. There's really no benefit to just having the plant out. You're supposed to really and it's the oil that's the repellent. So then they say that the candle, really the only thing that the candle protects is the candle itself. So you don't see many citronella candles with mosquito bites.
Are you serious?
And then number 5 myth, I didn't really, again, some of these myths I didn't really think, it's not like I thought, I really believe this hard and fast. But I guess there are people out there that believe the United States is free of mosquito-borne diseases, right? We talk about,
whatever.
What are the top ones?
Malaria
obviously is huge. Yeah. West Nile virus, all these kinds of things. Anyway, apparently it's here. And so just to make sure that you protect yourself, that I think lemongrass is a great idea. I saw an armband at the store.
No, I've seen that.
I wonder how it was
then
like
the little
93
fan thing,
cents.
the little
yeah,
fan that you hook on yourself. I can't imagine.
They
I'd be
didn't
dropping that
refute
thing
any
off.
of these things. Now they did say with the candles that if the wind changes, then you have a different coverage type of
Oh,
thing,
well,
and that's
shocking.
probably true with the fan thing as
Yeah.
well. But I asked the store employee that had the little armbands, and I said, "Do these things work?" And she said, "No one has ever that she knows of brought it back
It said
angry."
It doesn't. Well, really, it's
Itching.
$5.
It was less. I think for one, it was like 97
Well,
cents.
who's going to bring that back in? Give me my 97 cents.
That's a good
back.
point.
Even I wouldn't do that.
I'm very interested. I was not interested enough to buy one. Like I say, I've not yet been bit.
Ugh.
Which means I must not. I must not be very hot.
And on my arms.
Too bad. Anyway, so there you go. A few ideas about mosquito bites. They're not fun.
No.
No one likes to itch. That's for sure. Fun medical fact of the day. Did you hear about this lady in the coma that gave birth to a baby? This is amazing. This is amazing. Now, it was back. I'm a little off the times because it was at the end of May, beginning of June.
Okay.
But what happened is she was pregnant. And like 2 months into the pregnancy, they found this benign tumor in her brain. The doctors did, and they said,
could
"Oh, we need to pull this out."
Yeah.
And she said, "I don't want you to do any surgery until I have my baby."
Yes.
And so they held off on the surgery. And then she had a seizure. And when she had the seizure, she went into a coma and was in the coma since March was when she went into the coma. So about 3 months, 3.5 months into the before she had her baby. But when it was time, it was a C-section, but it was time, and they delivered her, and she's a completely healthy little baby girl.
The body's amazing, Scott.
And mom is still not. I tried to get an update. Like I say, this was written back in June, and I was not able to find anything that says mom has woken up, but she has not. As of this article, she had not woken up from her coma.
But she also hasn't expired either, so that's a good thing.
Well, I'm telling you, that is the crazy thing about it, is you can be completely unaware of what's going on, but the body is still doing everything.
It's amazing.
And like I say, this baby girl is just completely healthy.
So awesome.
The dad is taking care of her. Obviously, he would love to have his wife, I'm sure, around helping her. They have removed the mass when she was in the coma. They went in and took the mass out. So hopefully she will have a full and speedy recovery and wake up. But what a crazy! I mean, that was a crazy story to read.
That's so awesome, though. But that to me is the testament of the miracle of the body.
Yeah, it's an amazing machine.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It's true, and I don't think we have a clue.
No, I don't think we do either. All we know how to do is break it.
Yeah, we're good at that. We're going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
Are you ready for my joke?
Sure, I love your jokes.
I feel like they get worse every
Only
week.
get good ones.
I know. I like this one, though.
Billion out
This
there.
one's
Okay.
short, too.
Okay.
So a psychologist and a proctologist decided
no. Is this because I'm here?
No. They decided to open a clinic together.
Yeah.
And so guess what they called it?
I hate to guess.
Odds and Ends. So there you go.
Yay!
I need a good laugh track there. You can hit a button.
And a clappy.
But you do a good job
Yeah.
laughing, so I appreciate you. So again, this is Cheryl Laub. She is the owner and operator, CEO, manager, all kinds of.
Sounds so important.
Of the Right Way Health Center. The Right Way Health Center is in the Clock Tower building. I hear you're next to a semi-famous chiropractor.
He's a radio show host that I love so much.
And I feel like today's like hang out with your neighbor day, and so
Chat on the radio.
So my neighbor but so fun to have you again. I've known you longer than you've been in the Clock Tower building.
Absolutely.
And I remember kind of our first preliminary. Let's chat about how can we make this happen even. And here you are. You've been in business how long now? Almost 2 years.
Yeah, we're in our second year as the business owner.
And you've been doing it for longer, but this is now you being the person,
the girl,
the woman.
Yeah. The garbage cleaner outer and everything else.
See, I didn't want to say those parts.
I do everything.
You're the CEO
I have Sarah.
That's true. Sarah is fantastic.
Sarah's amazing.
Is she listening? I don't know.
If she's got your boombox, she is.
Let's shout out to her.
Hey, Sarah.
And tell her.
Work hard.
So it's so fun to have you there. It's so fun to see you doing what you're doing, especially as an independent business owner. I feel like it's almost like taking shackles off and you just being able to run free and learn great things. And your practice really has evolved even just from me seeing you from when you started in that office to now where you are.
Absolutely, it really has. And you know what has actually changed? I always say I'm a better coach every day. You know, I feel like I'm a better coach, but people don't know that until they walk in. But what has really changed my practice more than anything has been the scale that I bought. And I talk about my super scale all the time. Sometimes I hate it. It's a love-hate relationship with the scale. But it's so amazing. What it does is it does a body composition analysis, and it tells you specifically how much body fat you have in your body and how much muscle mass, and it separates it out, and it separates the water, intracellular, extracellular, and then it breaks it down even more to show segmentally each arm. I have to do it with my arms. Sorry, Scott.
That's okay.
I have to do the animation. Arms and legs are all separated, and trunk. And so if you're working out, which has been my probably my newest thing, is the workout people and the gym people. I've got Girls Getting Fit, and I've got a lot of people from the underground gym across the street from us, from the Clock Tower Center on Main Street. But they come and do their assessments there, and it's just been so fun to watch them. Not a person who's really in there to necessarily lose body fat, but a person who's trying to preserve or build their muscle and drop body fat at the same time. A very difficult project, I have to say. And watching these people, I was in awe of watching how they were able to do it. Work out so hard and eat just the right things and really manage that. That's a very different project than just dropping body fat. I've only ever been in dropping body fat or building muscle mass. Never done both. I don't do it well. And I realized that about, what it was in the 6 weeks that we did the Gym Wars. I was all over the place personally myself because I was pushing so much weight and working out so hard. I was hungry. And I was still trying not to eat as many carbs. Well, there's a fine line, and there's a balance that's beautiful once you find it. Then it all kind of works together, and you get the body you want. And I watched that in the 6 weeks. It was so fun to watch those people. But primarily, the machine gives you a guide, and it starts building a graph. So as you do your work, you get to see your progress. However often you want to come in, whether it's weekly or if it's monthly or every 2 weeks, whatever, you get to watch your progress. That's very encouraging when you've restricted yourself from whatever it is. If it's your donut or if it's your whatever. And I noticed that the workout people really can do a little more naughty stuff because they're working so hard. They still have to keep it pretty clean. And so it is an 80% clean, but they still are able to do their 10 to 20% naughty because they're working so hard. That's not always the case, and most people aren't willing to do that.
Now, we talk about that scale, and it really is an amazing machine.
It is.
And you talk about you say you have this love-hate relationship with it, but wouldn't you say now that your relationship with the bathroom scale has turned into pretty much just hate?
Oh, I hate the bathroom scale. And it's funny because I just finished a cleanse myself personally and watched myself on the bathroom scale because I pulled out my bathroom scale again to see what people... It's not my cleanse. I was doing a cleanse of another company that I was trying to try out. But it was interesting to watch. If I was just watching the bathroom scale, I would have been super thrilled. But I knew what was happening initially because I was watching it on my big scale. On the in-body, it was showing me that I was chewing my muscle mass by a rate of 2 pounds. In 2 days, I had chewed 2 pounds of muscle mass. And my body fat had actually gone up. That's kind of what happens when you chew your muscle mass. And then over the course of the time, I started finding the balance and increasing the things that weren't on the sheet necessarily, but that I included and changed around a little bit. And I watched the muscle mass change and go back to balance. I started increasing and going. It didn't increase, but it definitely went back to balance. But being able to watch that, again, I understood what was happening. Initially, I would have been so even more excited. I was disturbed on the 520 on my scale, but on the bathroom scale, if I'd just been the regular person who didn't know what was going on, I would have been thrilled. Well, that's the difference in being able to see: are you chewing muscle? Are you cannibalizing the muscle mass you built? That's giving you the ability to chew through calories at a higher rate of, you can eat more food. I always say that. The more muscle mass you gain, you get to eat more food. That usually sparks people's interest. Now tell me again, do I build muscle mass?
Hold on, did you
did you say more food? But that's what's really changed, is that they can see very clearly, when they mess up a little bit, but then they increase and they do all the right stuff 6 days of the week. The reality is it's good. The good stuff still happened. You had a little hiccup, but and that's for the person who's inching along and baby stepping along to try and create a different lifestyle. that really is sometimes the best you can do. This 10-day thing was slam you into remission and, all this stuff. And it was really hard, and I had some real struggles through it a little bit. But again, I found my way, and it ended up being a good body fat down, muscle mass preservation in the end. And so I feel better. I know that I feel better, and I know everybody feels better losing weight, however you do it, really, and however you do it. And I think that's the other thing is I do ideal protein as the diet protocol that I use in my office. But what I found is ideal protein is not perfect for everybody. Not everybody's willing to do that die hard. It's a die hard program, but it's very rewarding.
Sure.
It's very rewarding, but it's not easy, and it's not forgiving.
Right.
When that one little bite's not going to hurt you. That granny's trying to tell you, it really does. It makes a difference in this one. But there's so many other things, and really just changing. I found that I've started seeing people, just helping them start to change their lifestyle. We meet weekly. We go over the next thing. If you're a Diet Coker, it starts with Diet Coke, man. Yeah. We start with Diet Coke, and we could do a whole show on that. But
easily,
they have to get off the Diet Coke. Give them a week. I don't give everybody a week, but I give some of them a week. But then we move to the next thing, and then they're ready to jump really in, both feet first.
Right.
That feels good, but until you're ready, really, I can pull in. Anybody can push and pull. If you're really not ready to do it, it's not going to happen. It's really not going to happen. So I think getting your mind straight to step into a project like that is a good thing, but inching your way into stepping into the project is also a good thing too.
Sure. Now, people come in, they visit you, and they talk to you, and you really are very motivating, really good resource for people that need the motivation, things like that. But you haven't always been a healthcare coach.
No.
You haven't always been a weight loss coach.
No. I had to get super fat to become that.
So tell us a little bit about your journey, kind of the process it took for you, and then sort of really what kind of motivates you just day to day now.
I have since my early 20s, since college, I honestly have been, because I was a business major. And
5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yes, that's right. No, it's actually, when I heard what number of reunion we were on, I was like, oh, no, whoa. Can we really be that old?
That's not okay.
No, but my journey has gone from, we used to own, my first husband and we owned jewelry stores, and I was the buyer and it went straight from college into business, really into business fully, and with a guide. I had a really great guide there. Then I went on to the travel industry after the divorce, and I did that and I loved it. And then it kept evolving into this big, beautiful, and then suddenly I found myself here in Utah with my former husband, and I had 2 kids, and I was suddenly a single mom who was pregnant and going through my divorce. And I also found that I was an addict. I think this was the point when I guess I started to realize that I was an addict with food, and that I eat when I'm emotionally under stress or whatever. And that, having the baby, and then kind of moving. And I moved out of the baby with the weight a little better, but boy, it started packing back on after I kind of pulled myself together.
Sure.
But I got to 262 pounds. I'm 5'6".
That's pretty good.
Not very tall. I was Chubba Bubba. And you know what? It was so funny because I was so in denial, because even in the mirror I'd go, "It's hot. You look good." Yeah, mama. I was so broken. Mentally, that I was just trying to keep my life going, just keep my head afloat,
Right.
And I don't know, 5 years ago, Dr. Nielsen, Leif Eric Nielsen, called me up and said, "Hey, I have this job that I want you to do." And it's a weight loss coach. And I was like, "Excuse me? Have you seen me?" I tell this story all the time.
You thought you were on a radio show at that point.
Oh, I was like, where's the guy?
Yeah.
Is there a camera? No, I thought there was a camera, somebody watching.
Okay.
And I was like, no, this is like a Friday night, 9 o'clock. He's my friend.
Right.
And so he felt comfortable calling me at 9 o'clock, so he calls me, and I was like, "Put Sheila on the phone right now." Because I was like, put Sheila, meanie pants. That is so rude.
That's so mean.
That's so mean. And I called Sheila, said, "No, he's serious. Really, he means it. He really, you're the girl." I was like, all right, whatever. It turns out he was so right. And I went through the training, and I got really, when working with him was an internship that was unbelievable because he's a genius. The man's a genius, and I got to watch and learn, and I was in school every day.
Yeah.
I really felt like I was in school every day, and he guided me and also let me do my thing.
Right.
He let me learn and exercise what I had learned in the courses that I had taken.
Sure.
And that was a beautiful thing. He taught me how to be a practitioner, like how to see clients or how to see patients, whatever. I don't call them patients because I'm not a doctor. I call them my clients because they're there to do work.
Plus, people are less patient these days.
They're less patient. Yes, they're less patient. Anyway, it turned out that I got to learn. I got to learn so much along the way, and
Right.
and along that way in the first 6 months, I was able to lose the 80 pounds.
Wow.
That and there was a lot of pressure. It was the first time that I'd had a program that I could really count on and
Sure.
I could really. I could trust because I was watching it not only in myself, but I was watching it. It was almost a competition with my new
Right.
clients.
Right.
I couldn't cheat. There was no way. And it was the first time I'd been held that accountable. That's when I really learned the accountability part. That piece has become, I've realized, is probably the most important part and the most important reason why people march into my office is they come to have their Cheryl time.
Right.
They come and do their, and sometimes I feel like I need a curtain for confession. Where's that curtain? I need a curtain for confession. Isn't that what they do? Because that's what it kind of feels like. And I always want to say, stop. You know what? You don't have to confess to me.
Right.
You've already beat yourself up long before
Sure.
you got here.
Sure.
Let's just move on. Let's correct the problem and let's move on. But losing the weight kind of changed my life, and watching what and over the years, watching the hundreds and hundreds of people who have filed through my office, and their lives have been changed.
Yeah.
They've gotten their lives back. They feel empowered. They've remembered that they matter. And they started taking care of it.
Right.
I always have to tell moms this, and I always pull out the airline thing.
Yeah.
Moms who walk in there with 5 or 6 kids, and they've got a little tire, and they've got, all the stuff or whatever, or they're really severely overweight. I always remind them, have you ever been on an airplane? And they'll go, yeah. I'm like, when the lady says, please put on your oxygen mask first,
Yeah, and
so
then
you may
help
take care of other people.
Right. Right.
And and I wait for it. I just stop and I wait, or I say something like, and they get it. They get it. Oh, I'm supposed to take care of me first, so I may have the energy and the ability to take care of everybody else. Or, you forgot you mattered.
Yeah.
You're nicer to me right now than you're ever nice to yourself.
Right.
I remind them of that. I've had tears on that one before.
Sure.
Because they realize, oh my goodness, I've lost my way. But lost my way with myself,
Yeah,
my relationship with myself. But it must be that many people have never had it.
Right.
And so that becomes the goal of not only helping them lose weight. There's so many things that in the journey that happen along the way. People start to fall in love with themselves again and start to realize, I'm awesome. I'm so awesome.
So we've talked about this emotional aspect of weight loss, and it's so funny that you bring up that analogy because we've had other
Huge
people
component.
use the same analogy
It's a
in here,
huge component.
and it's a great analogy.
Yeah.
But I wonder, is that one way for people to realize that they're on the right track to losing and keeping weight off when they have to deal with some of these emotional issues
It's the
that got
motivation.
them there?
No, it's the motivation. It's the thing that you're getting rewards as you're working through the hard, yucky stuff.
Right.
It's the dark side that you don't
Right.
ever want to visit.
Right.
It's ugly, and nobody wants to go there voluntarily, but we know we have to.
Because you look at shows like The Biggest Loser and some of these places where really these people are transforming,
It's right.
but that's almost it's
It's just a body
very
thing
rare.
that's happening.
It's very rarely a food issue. It's very rarely. But I love Doritos so much.
Yeah.
And it is so much more of a. I'm in this place emotionally. I'm in this
Yeah.
place psychologically.
Well, the love of the Doritos they've just projected that love
Right.
into the Doritos.
Right,
It was really
right.
for the husband that's not
Right,
given, or
right,
whatever,
exactly.
or for the daddy who really, the mom or whatever. I seem to go towards the male. Sorry, I've had a
That's
good
okay.
male line of history in my life.
There's a big desk between
There's a
us here,
big
so
gap.
I'm
Yeah.
not worried about
I
you
can jump
jumping over.
I do CrossFit. I do Girls Getting Fit. I know how to do this. But you know what? It is. There's a direct connection to what the love you're giving, the moment that you're trying to give the love to the food, and you're
Yeah.
receiving the love.
Yeah.
When I put that, so I remember this. Sorry,
You're
hit
good.
the mic.
You can hit the
I
mic.
remember standing in the pantry, feeling loved by my chocolate sauce when I was
Right.
262.
Sure.
Love my chocolate sauce loved me as much as I loved it back, right? As my hiney was growing bigger and bigger. But the bottom line is that has to get under. You know what? You have to get acknowledgement. You have to put acknowledgement about the fact that it's even existent.
Right.
That you're emotionally. I tell this story, and I love this story. I went to a Narcotics Anonymous class or meeting with a client of mine who said, "You're my other sponsor.
Yeah.
I'm getting my 18-month badge. Please come with me."
Right.
Right. And I was honored, and I was so excited. I will be there. I walked into the St. Lawrence underground, it was under their basement area on Friday night at like 6 or 7 o'clock. And there was 25 people there, babies. It was the most humbling, amazing experience for me. Really, one of the
Right.
most. But everybody went through and talked about what went on in their week or in their day or whatever happened. It occurred to me there was one girl who was a teeny little girl. You could tell she had been an addict for some time, and she said, "Oh, I was at the grocery store." And she said it was all I could do to get into the grocery store because I saw my dealer in the parking lot.
Right.
And oh my gosh, my heart just kind of because for her. And after it was all over, I stood up. And of course they're going, "Oh, look, the other sponsor's going to stand up and say something."
Yeah, yeah.
I stood up and said, "Hi, I'm Cheryl. I'm an addict."
Yeah.
And I said, when you told that story about not being able to, or her getting into the grocery store fast enough away
Right.
from your dealer,
Right.
it occurred to me that my dealer is the grocery store.
Sure.
I have to walk into my dealer and be responsible and be aware and be outer edges,
I'm
do
not
the
going to that
perimeter,
aisle.
do the perimeter
going to that
check,
aisle. Yeah.
do all the rules, because for me it's sometimes a big effort. If my eye's not on the prize,
Yeah.
then I can fall very quickly,
Sure.
easily. And so my weight fluctuates because of that. Based on when I bought the business, I found myself the weight loss center.
Yeah.
Let me say.
Yeah. Listen.
I ballooned a little bit. I finally do. I do my fluffy side, and then because I'm an emotional eater, I clean it back up. And luckily I have a plan that I can count on that I can clean it back up.
Right.
That's the other thing. But it's a very, very emotional thing. And when I heard myself standing up the Narcotics Anonymous telling the addict that I thanked her for her scenario because it made me realize that my dealer is it was so eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
It was, again, very humbling, but very powerful, the message. Because I'd heard myself say, "Oh, I'm an addict with food," 10,000 times in my life.
Sure.
That I saw it, felt it, and I was with real addicts who were really admitted addicts who were trying to get well.
Right.
And really wanting to get well. It was a beautiful experience.
Huh. We talk about Diet Coke. That was the biggest thing you brought up. So that's the first thing to go.
And energy drinks.
Tell me
Yeah.
what people do wrong, not only just if they're not trying to lose weight, right? What are our biggest pitfalls when people come in and say, "Hey, these are the things you need to do differently." But not only that, what do people do wrong when they are trying to lose weight? What's our biggest
Diet Coke's number
problem?
one. I'm going to drink a soda, but I'm going to drink Diet Coke.
Right.
Well, the message to the body's all, or to the brain's all mixed up.
0 calories.
0 calories and aspartame. I just talk about the poison.
Yeah.
You can't find your keys anymore either, can you? And you can't, you're building some Alzheimer's going on, and you're kind of preparing your way to get there if you're
Right.
drinking Diet Coke and messing with your brain, because that's what the Alzheimer, or that's what the aspartame does. And I think you did a little show the other day or not too long ago
Yeah.
on the poisons that are in our food.
Right.
This to me is one of the number one poisons. It is tragic, and I've just read a new article on it. It is unbelievable the things that it does to the body and
Yeah.
how long it stays in the tissues. I've watched women really, it's like getting off of alcohol.
Sure.
And they're calling me going, "Oh, it's just, I have shakies from the alcohol
Right.
or from the
Right.
caffeine, and my head hurts from all this, and I don't feel good." And and it's really like walking them through getting over a drug or
Detox.
it
Yeah.
is a detox
Yeah.
on an emotional, physical, it's on every level. The Diet Coke probably is worse than alcohol in
It's
some
got to
ways.
be good for you then if it's that hard to get off, right?
Yes. What the heck? Really?
If you think Diet Coke's not bad for you, go a week without
That's
it.
right. Well, you know what? They can't.
See what your
unless
body
somebody's
does.
really pushing. I shouldn't say they can't. And then I have people say, no, I can stop drinking it today.
Anytime.
Any moment. I'm like, okay, I challenge you right now. And they're, it's the 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock at the
Yeah.
Maverick.
Yeah. Yeah.
They start out with their morning. That's
It's like
from
a party over there.
It's from their stash. It's from their stash at home. They only
Yeah.
keep the one little stash at home home so they don't feel guilty.
Right.
And then they go 10, and I know you people out there listening who are Diet Cokers know exactly what I'm talking about, because when I say it, they're like, how'd you know that?
In 20 minutes, they're going to be over there.
I know. 10 and 2, or it's a 10 and 2 or 10 and 3. It's when the body, though, and here's, I get to say, oh, really? I bet it's 10 and 2. And they go, how did you know that?
Yeah,
I'm like, let me guess what you had for breakfast. Either nothing or cereal.
Right.
You started out your morning with a carbohydrate-dense breakfast. You went on a sugar high. At 10 o'clock, you crashed.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to get a high
needed
back
something,
again, and then
yeah.
and then you crash again, and then it's lunchtime.
Right.
And then you go at 2 o'clock for your new high.
Right.
And you can call that whatever you want to call that. You're going for your high.
Yeah, because lunch is sandwich and chips.
Yeah,
you know,
sandwich and chips.
so it's carbohydrate again.
Absolutely.
It's blood sugar spiking.
Absolutely.
It's
So, and
destined to crash.
Absolutely. And I know this not with Diet Coke, but with my own children when I first started my journey.
Right.
Is that I was sending my kids to school on a sugar high with their sugar cereal.
Yeah.
Their cornflakes.
Yeah.
Frosted.
Yeah.
Let me add that. Frosted cornflakes. Let me
I
just
thought
add that.
they were great.
Yeah, great. And my younger son, Paxton, was having seizures still at the time. And so I'm watching all this stuff, this trauma going on in my family, this new, all this stuff and these new knowledge that I was learning. We started changing everything. The second day on eating a protein shake, and I even tricked my kids and gave them an ice cream shake. I gave them a scoop of ice cream, put some protein powder, put a little chia seeds and dressed it up and a little coconut oil in there, mixed it all up and handed it to my sons, and they're like, Mom is off her rocker. I don't even know what she's doing.
What is this?
Giving us, this ice cream for breakfast. And they suck on it and go, okay. And they walk away thinking, we like the kooky mom.
Right.
We'll take the kooky mom.
Mom's lost it.
Day 2,
we'll
Bridger came home from school, and he was at Timpanogos. And he came home and said, Mom, I didn't fall asleep at school today. I was like, you get 10 hours sleep a night.
I didn't know you were falling asleep.
And how do you fall asleep at school? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then it occurred to me, class number 2 said very specifically that the sugar high.
Right.
And it occurred to me that was the next morning we started that protein shake.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. Or, the next morning we started, I came up with a bunch of different protein breakfasts. So they didn't just get to get ice cream. I just tricked him into that.
Right.
He already felt the contrast. It was beautiful. Paxton ultimately changing their diet, ultimately stopped having seizures and off the medication within probably a year.
That's amazing.
It was amazing, and it was unbelievable to see avocados and coconut oil and all the good stuff I was putting in, and how much healthier everybody was getting all along the way. Not only myself, but them as well.
Yeah, it's, and so the other thing I want to tell people that are listening, Diet Coke has aspartame in it, but don't think that there are other things that don't have it, And so we switch to Diet Coke and we drink our...
Absolutely.
Some of these
Crystal Light.
other,
Crystal Light.
Crystal Light's a
Crystal
huge
Light.
one.
Yeah.
People think they're doing great with Crystal Light.
They've made one with sucralose though now. I have to say I've poo-pooed on that with Dr. Larson so much because that was his favorite drink. I was like, stop drinking it. We love your brain. Please stop.
We love your brain.
And I was like, I'll make you some lemonade. I was talking to Suzanne. Suzanne, please make you some lemonade. And whatever. But they found one with sucralose. At least it's not aspartame. Sucralose is still an artificial sweetener, but least impacting or lower impacting and less on the brain.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree, and I'm not a big fan, but the bottom line is if you're going to choose your poison, let's choose it a little differently.
Well, and that's what I say too, and what I've said on here is just beware of the 0-calorie anything.
Yes.
Because if it's 0-calorie and it ain't water.
Yes.
Then there's chemicals in there that your body does not recognize that you are tricking yourself to think is food that is not.
That's right. Well, Paxton came in with the Pepsi one, and I can't remember because this has been a while ago. And he goes, Mom, see, look, it's not got a lot of carbs. And then because that's always this and
exactly.
And I said, yes,
it's a great ratio.
He goes, and it says sucralose. And I said, read a little farther. And I think this one had both.
Wow.
Had aspartame and sucralose. I think that was the one. And I'm sorry, Pepsi one, if it's not. But there was one of them. And I was like, no, just because it says less carbs doesn't mean it's okay.
Right.
And less carbs isn't always the greatest scenario. It is if you're dropping body fat, absolutely. Right. But not, and he's all.
But isn't it interesting, really, when foods do try to just cut calories? So, hey, I want to eat less calories, so I'm going to buy food that says they have less calories in it. You look at it and you see that they have
some kale.
They have pulled out some of the easy stuff that is high in calorie, but not necessarily bad for you.
No, you're right.
And then filled it up with
all the bad stuff, and given it a name that people go, well, I don't know what that is. I don't know, whatever.
Right, but whatever.
Well, I mean, I've been in this
250 calories, so I'm going to eat it for lunch.
I've done that before, where I've looked at it and said, you know what, I don't know what it is, but it's a part. It was when I used to trust the FDA.
Yeah,
it's when I used to trust that somebody really had my back.
Our big brother there, the
the big
FDA.
brother, that really had my back and really cared about me as a human being instead of my wallet. That's very thin.
Really, I always talk and I say, FDA, we think of this motherly figure that
really
pats
used
us on the
to.
head and says we won't let anything bad happen to you.
We love you.
But really, they're more like the big brother, like, hey, I dare you to eat this.
Oh, I know. Well, and it was a big eye opener for me when I saw the list of everything that they didn't know. They had never tested on chemicals.
Yeah.
The science experiments that they put in our food.
Right.
The list was so extensive. I couldn't believe that they said, well, we're just going to kind of shoo those in because nobody's had problems in the last 50 years. So we're going to shoo those in, and then the rest of them we'll really look at.
Right.
I was so disturbed by that I was like,
generally regarded as safe. Yeah, they
that's
just,
what it's called.
Yeah, they just stamped it and said, hey, these here we're okay. We don't think anyone's died from these yet.
We hadn't heard of anybody.
If people start dying from it, then we'll take a look at it.
We'll research it, and that's what it said.
And I appreciate the rant on aspartame. I think in our lifetime it'll be banned. I don't think it's
on
much.
What?
Aspartame. I think it will be banned.
Absolutely, and that was what the article was. It was saying if anything needs to be banned, it's the aspartame.
I think we're starting to realize how toxic it is, not just to our cells in general, but on the neurons, on the brain cells. I mean, this is what we're looking at is as we get older, our bodies are living longer, but our brains are living shorter.
Well, and that's exactly what I say this all the time to my older clients. Do you want to have a great body? We can get you a great body, but what happens if your brain is mush?
Right.
What if you can't change your own damn diapers?
Yeah, exactly.
I say that all the time. I don't want to have, or what if we protect the brain but you don't take care of the body? What if the brain turns out to be okay when you're 85 years old and your body is broken because you haven't taken care of it? I watched that with my dad.
Right.
And it was very difficult to watch him die, knowing that we could have fixed it if you'd just listened to me.
And he's completely aware he can, but then, exactly, the body won't do what you want it to do.
His body, and he would try to play the guitar for me when I would go back, and because it was my favorite thing as a child. And,
sure.
His hands, his body, because of all the medication he was on, simply wouldn't work. And he was so frustrated watching him. I was like, sorry, Daddy, it's okay. No, it's okay. Because he was just getting so frustrated because he wanted to give me that gift. His body wouldn't let him.
So your program that you use and the training that you had was through Ideal Protein. Tell me why people don't eat as much protein as they should. Tell me how much they should be eating. What is the general fear about saying, hey, I don't know if I should be eating this much protein?
There's so many fears, and it's eggs. With eggs, let's start with eggs. Eggs are perfect. I think if they're from your backyard, they're the most perfect, and you fed them whatever.
Yeah.
But I think eggs, there's this whole, and I always said, I want you to have 2 eggs in the morning. They're like, whoa, with the yolks?
With the yolks.
Yeah, I'm like, can you just have the yolks? Okay, do I have to pull the study out again? All the studies?
Yeah.
Can you just trust me on this one? It's not. It doesn't raise cholesterol. They've finally proven that.
It does not.
It does not.
Yeah, no,
and they've proven that it's amazing food. It's easily digested.
It's a perfect. Yeah, it's a great protein.
It is a perfect food. People don't. It's lack of knowledge, Scott.
Right.
It's going back to the whole that pyramid we used to have.
Yeah.
was so wrong in my head.
I saw someone yesterday propagate the food guide pyramid, say, just pay attention to the food guide pyramid. And I wanted to write and say, even the government doesn't buy into that anymore.
No, we know. And
don't
the plate.
talk about the food guide
like the plate.
Not that the plate's better, but at least they've.
I know.
Anyone that talks about the pyramid is, if that's how you're still thinking of nutrition, you're even behind the government, which is a sad place to be.
But many of their feeding our kids, I have to wonder, I struggle with the ratios that's approved there as well.
Right.
Because protein happens to be, and again, I've gotten to watch it with the scale and watching what happens when you don't eat enough protein.
Right.
Protein is everything in our body uses protein. Think about that. Our skin, not just our skin and our hair and, but our muscles, our pretty muscles. But so does our blood is protein. It's made up of protein. Our heart, all of our organs are made up of protein. It needs food. You can't absorb it from the sun. You must have it in your mouth. You must chew it up. You must eat it. You must absorb it. And I think there's such the fear of heart disease and all this stuff with the meats. Our bodies were designed to process even saturated fats. Do I think you need to be having beef every, No,
wait.
But
I thought that's what you were going to tell us.
No, please have a steak though. I'm a carnivore and I promote, It's really difficult. And I'll tell you with the vegetarians, I've only seen 2, 3 do it really well. They were doctors and Rachel. I say this to Rachel all the time. You do this really well. But they understand the protein and they understand their amino acids and all the things that it requires. to keep their muscle mass at a place that helps their body to be able to burn the calories that actually come in, as food.
Right.
And I measured a man not too long ago, and he had been doing a lot of beers, and he had been off track, and he had been really not eating well. I mean, really going hours and hours, like 7, 8, 10, 12 hours before even putting a bite of food in his mouth.
Sheesh.
Oh my goodness, my head was about to explode. I was so excited, but I was about to explode, right?
Yeah.
I put him on the scale, and I burst out, of course, I can't keep anything in. Oh, you're a skinny fat, just like a woman.
Yeah.
And I burst this out, and he, of course, was crushed.
Which
and
was
I didn't
super exciting for
But
him.
he turns around and looks at me, and he goes, wow, I knew it was bad. I didn't know I turned into a woman. I was like, no, but what I mean is the ratio of body fat to muscle mass. I'd never seen that in a man.
Yeah.
And he had just wasted away. He had cannibalized his muscle mass to the point of the not eating.
Right.
Really, he was struggling standing. He wasn't real strong.
Yeah.
He was only 50 something.
Yeah.
I was going, stop it. I was shaking his shoulders going, this is what you're going to eat. And he comes back and he gets back on the scale, and you know what? He's motivated.
Yeah.
I was a meanie pants, but he comes back and he gets on, and he's making improvements in his health on levels I have never seen.
Really?
Yeah, it's beautiful. So his
Good.
muscle mass is increasing because he's finally understanding protein. And that was his question. Yeah, but isn't that too much protein?
Right.
I was like, honey, there's a rule. The rule is to maintain your muscle mass right now at balance is half your body weight in grams of protein.
Yeah.
Every day. Not easy to get in. That's why those 2 full eggs, that's still only 12 grams together,
Right.
is super duper important to get started. Have a piece of ham with it, or yes, I said ham, or have something, protein dense.
Yeah.
Bag the bread, bag all the carbs for breakfast. Start out with a really great, protein breakfast, and carry it through.
That's what we want. We feel like carbohydrates is what we should eat for breakfast, but we
Yes.
really have not been eating that for very long.
No, and Scott, the other reason that people shy away from meats especially is they don't have good digestive enzymes.
Yeah.
They really struggle, and I've heard that so many times. Yeah, I don't do meat because it sits right there. I'm like, oh,
Sure,
honey,
sure.
you need some Here, take this. This is
Yeah,
your digestive
yeah.
enzyme. There's a way to correct all that. All the damage, right? Most of the damage that we've done, especially with our enzymes and our everything, the probiotics, we can add that. We can that's a supplementation that's necessary.
Yeah.
When I have meat, I know I don't do it well, but I take a Zypan every time I have one. It helps. It's just additional hydrochloric acid, so it's just helping my gut, the thing that's already there, to digest it, so it can move on, and it's not hanging out and trying to come back up the other way and giving me heartburn. I mean, and that's the other thing, Scott. Probably that's what makes me the greatest coach, and I really do think I'm a great coach. I didn't think I was always a great coach.
I think you are too.
I didn't used to always think I was, but honestly, it's because I've experienced pretty much every single thing that can happen with the body in terms of fat and weight loss and all this stuff, and doing food wrong.
Yeah.
I'm the queen of it, and I can say, oh, can you not do that? And let me tell you why. Let me tell you exactly.
I did that.
Let me tell you exactly why not to do this. This is this and this. I've done it 3 times. Don't do it, or whatever. But it's really from experience. All the books and all the education.
Yeah.
It was from watching my clinical experience of my own research, of watching people come through and kind of going, oh, that doesn't work. It really doesn't work. Or this does.
So you use some supplemental products, some support products. Tell me what you think are the most important. What do you really like to promote when people come in starting to change their lives like
It
this?
depends. If they come in with wanting to be in a full program and doing the idle protein protocol, there's very specific vitamins that replace the foods nutritionally that I've yanked out for the time that they're in, right? But if somebody comes in and says, I don't feel good, I would start changing around some of their diet. But a multivitamin, get a Catalan. A Standard Process is my favorite whole food, perfect, amazing vitamins company. So Catalan, it's a multivitamin. A tuna oil, it's an omega, and it's beautiful. And that is honestly, the tuna oil probably is the most important thing that I gave to my son with the seizures.
Sure.
It supported his brain. He took an adult-sized dose since he was 4.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing to watch, that change. But tuna oil and a trace mineral, I believe that, and I've watched the differences when people are just even a little bit deficient, and I felt it in my own body. And having some trace minerals, even if it's in the real salt, sometimes that little bit's enough. But I take a trace mineral every single morning, just because I know that I'm deficient, and I know how much better energetically that I feel when I do honor that and take that. So those are ones I don't miss. I have support system, when I'm working on a system, or I have specific things that I know that my body chews through that I take extra of. But those 3 things, honestly, and I test everybody for iodine deficiency. I have a way to test that. And it is shocking how many women especially are so severely deficient in iodine, and meaning their thyroid, their energy regulator, isn't working as properly as it should. Even the people on the medications. So there's some very basic things, honestly, that I do think are super important. And my kids take them every morning, and I take them every morning. And I think it's important, even if you eat well, to fill in the gaps, because I don't always eat well. I'm an 80-20 girl. 80-20. 20% is fun foods, 80% in a 7-day period. 80% is good, healthy food. That's our family rule. 20% can be the fun foods, because I don't want them to come to my friend down the street's house and be
raid their pantry.
Raiding their sugar pantry.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk just a little bit about when someone's trying to lose weight, and a lot of times the big problem with some of these diets is, I do great in losing weight while I'm on the diet.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem with the diet is you always get off a diet.
That's right.
And so tell me what the key is, or how do you know that you're on the road to long-lasting weight loss as opposed to just something that I'm going to gain back, and maybe even more so?
I start that the day they walk in. Okay, we call it a project. We don't call it a diet.
Yeah.
We call it you're stepping both feet. And this is important. Both feet the project. You don't get to go through the project with a foot out.
Right.
You get to step both feet into the project. And I never call it a diet. The protocol is a project. And when you step, and I want them to see themselves stepping back out of the project into the next phase of the project, which is life, phase 4.
Yeah.
That's life. You're stepping into, we actually physically stand up and we step over into another little section of the room.
Good.
I'm not kidding, because it has to almost be, I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
So we do everything visual. That's why I use my hands. But really, it's a visual step up and step into the next project, because this project, everything that we've been practicing in this super restricted state for however many months it's taken us to get you to your final weight, right? Your body weight that you like, that we're going to take to balance. And now we're at balance. Now we got to find your magic to find what balance looks like for you.
Right.
How do you get to live and do all the things you want to do? And how do you get to eat and make sure that you maintain the weight that you've worked so hard to get to? And that becomes the project. They still march their heinies in there and get on the scale once a week and see how they're doing. If they start, let's say I don't see them for a month right after they graduate.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that could be a 5 or 6 or 7 pounds. Seriously, they've gone crazy. They've been deprived. They're going
They're
crazy.
ready.
Well, the weekly it keeps them in their next project and keeps their head in the game.
Yeah.
The game is, and you know what? The game never ends.
No.
I used to think the game, I was my ticket. When I'd get to the size 6 or the size 8, I'd pull the ticket. I have a ticket to eat now.
I'm good.
I'd pull it out of my back pocket, man, and I would start the climb. And I did this so many times in my life, Scott. So many times. Really, I've done it. And what I've realized that really is, and I have this, you've seen my giant sign on my wall that's plastered that CRC put on my wall. It's like a 3 foot by 3 foot, and it says, losing weight is hard. Maintaining weight is hard. Staying fat is hard. Choose your hard.
Yeah.
It's all hard.
Right.
Which hard do you want to do?
Right.
Which magic do you want to find? Do you want to find the magic of gaining weight? Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Do you want to find it of maintenance? That's really hard.
Yeah.
Losing weight, that's hard too. It's hard, but so worth it. And both of them are worth it. The 2 latter ones are so worth it. And we know, just this morning, just that little bit of weight that I shed from the cleanse, from the detoxification that I was kind of doing, my yearly detox, I literally pulled out a dress. Oh, I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
I pulled out a dress that I haven't worn, really. I could not wear it. It was a little too snug. Things were a little fluffy, hanging out in places that didn't feel good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just a little cleanup. I did my little cleanup. I feel better.
Right.
I still have a little bit I want to kind of do, just because of that whole bodybuilding thing. I couldn't do it. But you know what? It feels good to feel good.
Sure.
And to not be sick and fat and tired of being sick and fat. Sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Sure. We're running out of time, which is so crazy because it just flies by, honestly. But the one thing I want to say is there are people out there that are frustrated. They've tried to lose weight, right? This always happens, especially in my household. Like if my wife and I say, hey, let's do some good things. Let's lose some weight, right? We start doing something. I dropped 7 pounds in 3 days.
You know what? We hate you
and
guys.
she gains 2.
Well, that sucks. And even if...
that's just my question is, what do we tell someone, especially a female, because I think this is more of a female issue, because you talk about iodine, and thyroid is such a big,
It's
you know,
huge.
popular thing right now
Yeah.
to get looked at and to get checked and things like that. But what do you tell that woman who is really trying hard and she's changing how she's eating? What's she doing wrong that she can't lose weight?
Well, there's a lot of things. She's a hormone. She's encased with all these so many more hormones than, I shouldn't say more. Yeah, numbers of hormones.
Right.
He has the same
Right.
basic ones, just whatever. But first of all, the hormones play against us. I even track everybody's menstrual cycle so that I know to start preparing them the week before.
Yeah.
Okay, it's coming up.
It's coming.
It's coming up because things are not going to be quite the same, but
Right.
keep your head in the game because
Right.
the following week you'll see your results better. Men are just, and it goes, I can tell you exactly, it goes back down to muscle mass.
Yeah.
Men have more muscle mass, women don't.
Right.
And the women who walk in there with less muscle mass are even more vulnerable to
Right.
not shedding as much body fat as fast. You know, there's so many things. It's a muscle mass issue because there's such a drastic issue. The men have more they can plow through.
Yeah.
Calories so much faster,
Right,
honestly.
right.
Women just can't. And the hormones, I think it's probably the muscle mass and the hormones that slow us up a little more. And mentally, I'm not saying men aren't, but mentally, and I'm a woman and I can say this, we have different things on our plate. It's an
Yeah.
emotional
Yeah.
thing. Men you can go to work, you can be less emotional, you can detach. You don't because you're a doctor, you do what you do. But most men go to the work, they go away from the emotion and step out of the emotional side because that's
Right.
the family side
Right.
into their job of doing their work.
Right.
They don't chat about the family, they do their thing, right? Women stay in the family. They
Sure.
stay in the family even when you're not at home and out. I'm a single mom. I'm not at home. I'm always a mom. I'm always in the family. My head is always in my family.
Yeah.
I'm always emotionally tied and attached to my family because it's my job.
Right.
You know, and I think more than anything, it's an emotional. Well, there's three things. It's an emotional thing, probably more so with women. It is we also strive a little harder to be better, and we're harder on ourselves. We're
Yeah.
so mean to ourselves.
Yeah.
That voice that's so mean. I call her Wanda. She's mean. Wanda's mean. I'm like, Wanda, shut up. Somebody said it sounds like you have multiple personalities. I said,
Yeah,
I had to give it
yeah.
a voice.
Yeah, that's okay.
So that I may recognize when it's happening.
Yeah.
And go, whoa, Wanda's really.
Yeah, she's working
My
it
legs
today.
look fine. Walk out the door.
Relax,
You know,
Wanda.
Wanda's going, oh, honey, wait. They look bad. What are you doing? They're my legs. Walk on. You know. So men have a lot of that. And again, when men get to my pep talk for men is don't forget to eat.
Yeah.
Once they
Yeah.
get in that place, they're like, no, I'm in the mode. I'm in the project. They're in a project.
Right.
They understand project. Not better. But they're not it doesn't seem as distracted. Women are distracted again, not only by taking care, they've got the job of taking care of themselves, but they take care of everybody else too.
Right, right.
Not saying that the guys don't. And I have a lot of dads in my clinic that are super dads.
I'm very helpful
happen
at
to be-
home.
You are one of them. Super helpful at home. I haven't talked to Connie about this. I've only heard your side of it.
I'm looking
So,
for the phone to start
Connie,
ringing
I'll hear
right
your
now.
voice after. But I'm saying, you are way more involved than a lot more other men. I've watched it.
I'm glad.
So I can say bravo. I don't get to see that very often in my own personal life. So it's a beautiful thing to see, but there is a big difference and it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
And they're not two bodies the same. When husbands and wives come into me together, I bring the wife aside and I say it in front of the husband so he's sensitive. You're going to hate him by the end of this 1 week. Just don't. Because here's the reason. He's going to have lost more body fat. And he's
Right.
the reason.
Right.
You know, I really have to prepare their head.
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh, I know. No, let me tell you why.
No, really. Yeah. Exactly.
Let me really tell you why. And I want you to, I will find that husband, and you know who you are. I know you're probably a listener, actually. They will start cheating. So the man will start
Oh,
cheating
yeah.
so they can keep up with their wives in the fat loss. I've had 4 men who love their wives that much. That is true love. That is true. Go over there. No, they don't do it in front of them. They do
Yeah.
it silently. And they're
Oh,
like,
yeah,
don't.
sure.
And they'll call me beforehand and go, I had a little extra today. Don't fuss at me.
That's right.
Because,
I'm
or this
trying
week,
to-
because I wanted, she's struggling and I didn't want to be I can't even fuss at them about that because it's so beautiful, right? So it is a big difference, and you have to kind of prepare your head. It is a physiological,
Right.
It is our design is just different.
Well, and I think what happens is the easiest thing in our head to say, hey, I want to lose weight, so I need to eat less.
No, it's not less.
Right, and that's what. But isn't that what people think?
That's what everybody does. I mean, and I'll have, especially people, the older generation, my generation. My generation says, "Oh, I cut out all my fat." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, can you stop doing that?" Because we grew up in the fat-free generation.
Right.
The older people, they'll really struggle. It's a quantity thing for them. So I start explaining when we lower everything, meaning we've lowered our calories, yay. We've lowered our carbohydrates, yay. We've lowered our protein, not yay.
Right.
And we've lowered our nutrition.
Right.
Not yay.
Right.
So if you can keep the protein high, the nutrition high, lowering the carbohydrates, the calories will go down by themselves, right? Lowering the carbohydrates and even the fat does it. When you're really in a fat loss stage, you don't need as much fat necessarily if it's a project.
Yeah.
Your body does need the fat, though. Your brain needs the fat. It needs a tremendous, way more than, now we get it when we're eating processed foods more than our share and not the right kinds, right?
And that's
but when you're
exactly
really
the
eating
issue.
good and you're eating clean and you're trying to do well, a lot of fat goes a long ways, and honestly, you can really pack in a lot of. I've only seen it on the macros with the people who are doing when they track it in their phones on that whatever it is.
Yeah.
It is astounding. I had one girl who's a professional paddleboarder. She was 50%. Her intake was 50% fat in her diet.
Wow.
She was super lean.
Yeah,
She had and each week super lean. It was amazing to watch what the body really can do if given clean food.
What does the starvation do physiologically? Why do you think that's such a negative in the long run?
Well,
somebody can starve themselves, lose a ton of weight.
Absolutely.
But
it's kind of what this cleanse kind of felt like to me a little bit. I'll just be honest. It pulled it out in the end, but I felt like I was on the starvation. I was looking at my nail bed to see if I already had those white little things.
That's right.
You know what? It goes back to again preserving the muscle mass,
right?
And nourishing the body. There's two things that happen when you do the starvation thing. Everything gets lowered. The body starts to go into storage mode,
right?
Because the message to the body is chew the muscle. She's not giving me any food to use as fuel, as energy, as whatever.
Right.
And so store whatever she does as body fat. Please store it.
And then break down the muscle for energy.
Because there might be a famine, and she's not going to have it. I don't trust her. The ultimate message is the body doesn't trust you.
Right.
And so it's storing body fat while you're cannibalizing your muscle mass.
Yeah.
And that's what the guy was doing. He was cannibalizing continuously every day at a rate and really only putting in enough. I think he told me he was eating 1 chicken breast a day.
Wow.
I was like, dude, let's bump that up to about 4. Or 5, and then let's have some other things. Or whatever. It doesn't. I'm saying I was trying to build this guy. I'm not saying you should have 4 chicken breasts a day. I have to be so careful because people take me very literally. But
Cheryl just said.
Cheryl said me to eat 4 chicken breasts a day. Not that it would be a horrible thing, and it would be a good thing.
Right.
But yeah, that's the thing, is that when you lower everything and you start to do the starvation thing and really I was at least nourishing myself with super drinks and super shakes and taking vitamins and very specific things that was nourishing my body.
Right.
Allowing it to cleanse, but I wasn't having to do digestion.
Sure.
And so lowering everything really does kick your body into a famine. It kicks it into cannibalizing. And when I say that, people go, that just sounds so gross. But that's what's happening.
Yeah.
It needs to sound gross. You need to stop.
Right.
And the only way you can stop is to eat enough protein so the body says, oh, thank you. I have plenty.
And I don't have to break it down from the muscle mass.
Exactly. And it's so much harder to break down the muscle mass to use, than this glycogen storage that's always there.
So this is what I'm going to tell everybody out there. If this is part of what you're trying to do, if you're interested, I think we need to stand on that scale. It's a great scale.
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing
it's awesome.
else.
And it's $20.
$20, come in, get your whole body composition read. You can see what's going on, and then use it as a marker instead of the bathroom scale.
Absolutely. And come in, even if it's your once a year cleanup, your once a year check in with yourself, if that's all you can manage, pick a day, make that your day every year, whatever. The people, honestly, Scott, who walk in at least once a month in maintenance, once a month, and they have a standing appointment, first Friday of every or whatever is their appointment. They are the people who their measurements are always the same.
Right.
Their weight's always the same. They may tweak a 3 pound or 1 pound or whatever, but they clean that right back up, and they're always aware. That's the person, and you know who you are. Won't say your name, but that's the person who. I've watched it, and I've watched it with lots of people. But I'm thinking of one person in particular that's I don't tell you who it is, but she's beautiful, and she monitors herself. It's Ray Davis.
Yeah.
She monitors herself. She's got this beautiful thing going on and has forever, and it's never really had to do too much. You know, she keeps it and she honors it.
But even that little bit of, hey, let's check in, let's see how it's
she
going.
Doesn't trust her own head. She doesn't trust herself, so she with the weight thing, because she's like me a little bit,
Right.
And so she comes and hops on just to check. She works out out 6 days a week. She
Yeah.
is my idol. I
Yeah.
love her. I love her. She's amazing.
Tell people how to get a hold of you just here at the end, just so that they can.
We're in the Clock
do
Tower
it.
Center. I'm at our number at the office is 435-671 4131. I don't even know it hardly.
That was good.
Cell number 801-550-2524. You can call me if you want to come in.
Yeah.
We're in the Clock Tower Center. You can find me at Cheryl at the right way WEIGHHC.com.
That's a little play on words.
I know. When we thought of it, it was great. When I'm having to repeat it, it's not so great. So there's no T on wait.
So again, great show. Thank you so much for coming on. Again, luckily now that people, if they listen to the first one, now they listen to this one, they say, "Oh, okay, she does talk.
She doesn't just giggle."
and really great things you're doing for people. Again, I think if you're curious about really how your body is functioning, that bathroom scale is not going to tell you. Get yourself really checked out, but
and it's
everybody
so
kind of
rewarding
wants to
know.
try.
Yeah, it's so rewarding to know. Honestly, my job is so rewarding to get to give the gift.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we'll say goodbye to everybody today. It's a great, beautiful looking day outside. The sky is blue. It'll probably get a little warm, but go out and be healthy. If you do it for nothing else, of course, do it just for the health of it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me, Scott.
Of course.